Everyone for joining us today. We're really excited to show you what we've got. Today's webinar will be covering the shortcomings of QuickBooks when you've reached its limitations. Next slide. This is our team. Tayyab Ali is the Vice President of Consulting here at Alpha Bold. Ilya Budimir, who will be on the webinar with me today, is the Practice Manager for NetSuite. Additionally, he's our technical lead, and my name is Judd Holenza, and I am a sales and client engagement manager. Next slide. Today's agenda will cover the issues of QuickBooks as you've reached its limits. We will then delve into NetSuite solutions for those issues, and finally, we will discuss why Alpha Bold is your best choice as a partner to implement and support NetSuite. Finally, we will finish with QuickBooks, with some question and answers period. Let's review some of the reasons people look to replace QuickBooks. QuickBooks really is a great solution, but it does have some significant limitations. Often people are able to work around those limitations, but as their business grows, those flaws become too big to overcome. While there are many reasons that people upgrade to NetSuite, these are the 5 most common. Next slide. Number 1, reporting and poor visibility. Let's start with reporting. If you work in QuickBooks, you tend to work in a perpetual fog when it comes to reporting. As all of you know, you end up spending just as much time in Excel as you do in QuickBooks. Out of the box, NetSuite's reporting capabilities are vastly superior to QuickBooks. For example, NetSuite lets you consolidate inventory reports from multiple warehouses and consolidate multi-company, multi-entity financials. NetSuite lets you also quickly search for your vendors, customers, and invoices. And the best part is that within NetSuite, you can do all of this from a single dashboard. Ilya, can you show them NetSuite's dashboard and talk about what reporting comes out of the box?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I will, on the next demo, I'll play a video and I'll show you some of the, I'll show you the basic dashboard layout. Also, I'll talk a little bit about the KPIs that are within the dashboards and 250 plus out of the box reports. So all of that kind of revolves around real-time reporting, and I will speak about that shortly.
Great.
All right, so here's the video. I'm going to start playing it quickly. All right, so this is a typical look of the dashboard in NetSuite. As you log in, this is what you see. So all of these are portlets. They're called portlets. You can drag them left and right. So I'm going to demonstrate how to do that.
So this allows you to customize the dashboard so you can see it.
That's right. Or you can just move things around. You know, if you're not happy where the position of one portlet, you can move it up or upright or to the left, and you can rearrange this freely. It's very easy to do. You can click on personalize button or personalize link at the top right, and then you can add additional portlets or put more portlets onto your dashboard.
So you can customize this by role or within a role.
That's right. That's right. And it's very easy to publish this.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So next, what I'm going to show you is how to create shortcuts. So shortcuts is a portlet where you can add links to the records that you want to access within or outside of NetSuite. So here I will demonstrate how to add a link to, let's say, Google search engine. And it's so easy, everybody can do this.
So it's like a bookmark almost.
That's right. So I'm going to show you now the reports interface, and I won't spend too much time on it. I just wanted to show you where they're located. And these are those out-of-the-box reports that you can access. And I'll spend a little bit more time later talking about all of these individual reports in detail. Okay? But I wanted to show you that all of these exist right here in the reports dashboard.
Hey, Ilya, how many reports does NetSuite have out of the box, you think?
So the number is around 250.
Wow.
Yeah.
So hopping back into it, QuickBooks Online users don't have visibility into what's going on in the warehouse. This is a big limitation. QuickBooks does have three-way matching, but it's very basic. It's very hard to use. You know, a lot of you that are using QuickBooks know this. QuickBooks Online provides no lot number serialized inventory tracking. There is no BOM management support in QuickBooks. There isn't a robust warehouse management system in QuickBooks. There isn't a demand planning module in QuickBooks, but this is all covered in NetSuite. Ilya, can you show us how NetSuite handles inventory management?
Absolutely. So in the next demo, I'll talk a little bit about BOM management assembly items. I will then show you how to receive serialized inventory. I'll talk a little bit about three-way matching and how it's set up on the item level. And I will talk about available to promise, and I will demonstrate how salespeople can actually see what's coming in from the standpoint of inventory. And I will lastly finalize this by showing you how to fulfill serialized products. All right, so here's the video, and I'm going to start playing it. Again, we're back on the dashboard of NetSuite.
And this kind of everybody uses as their landing page, correct?
That's right. And everybody will see a different, depending on their role, everybody will see a different dashboard. So this is an assembly item, serialized assembly item. And you can see basic information, basic purchasing and inventory information under the purchasing and inventory tab. And I will scroll down now. These are the locations, and we can track the inventory within those locations. And here we can define the components of that assembly item or BOM. And this is a basic BOM structure in NetSuite. So it's very simple to set up and maintain. Next, I'm going to show you how to receive purchase order and how to receive serialized inventory. So there's in the shortcuts, I have receive orders page where you can mass receive orders. So you can do that in NetSuite. But what I'll do is I'll open up a PO and I will manually receive it, and I'll walk you through the receipt process. So I'm opening it right now, and this is the list of the open purchase orders. So I'll click on one. Okay. So this is a PO that is pending receipt. This is the inventory that we need to receive, 30 units into our warehouse. I will click on the receive button. And this can all be automated. You can use a barcode reader to do this. You don't have to do this necessarily in NetSuite if you have a WMS system. So here I'm going to set quantity 2. I'm going to receive only 2 units into inventory. And because this is the serialized inventory, I will enter the serial numbers. So that's my first serial number that I'm adding to the inventory detail section. And this is my second inventory serialized number that I'm adding to the second line. Now, what we can also do, we can paste from Excel serial numbers, so we don't have to enter them manually.
Oh, so like they get an inventory spreadsheet.
That's right.
Gotcha.
And here we can also auto-generate numbers if we need to.
So stuff comes in, it doesn't have a serial number, but you want to create a serial.
That's right. That's right. So once you're done with this step, you simply save the order and the inventory is received. And this is a partial receipt, obviously. So if you go back to the purchase order, you'll see that it's a partial receipt and we still need to receive other units. Now, next I will talk about three-way matching. Let me try to speed up this video a little bit, but not too much. All right, so there it is. This section here is related to three-way matching. And here we set up the tolerance levels that the system will respect. And this is done through a workflow, three-way match workflow that comes provisioned to any NetSuite system. Let me actually pause this for a second. So here we would set the order quantity tolerances and the vendor bill purchase order amount tolerances as well. Should our, let's say, bill amount or bill quantity amount go over the initial quantity or the amount on the either item receipt or the purchase order, and the vendor bill is routed for an approval. And only after the vendor bill is approved will it post in the system. Okay? And you can manage that through items, you can manage that globally, and you can set up these tolerances so that you don't have to worry about this. The system will manage it automatically for you. So I'll press and play again. So next, what I will talk about is the ATP, available to promise. ATP is used along with demand planning in NetSuite, and it helps salespeople and customer service people see what's coming in from the inventory standpoint, to be able to tell their customers how fast they can fulfill their orders and they can ship them out. Now we'll fast forward a little bit here because we talked about this piece already. So I'm going to edit the sales order, and I will show you how to use ATP in NetSuite. So on the order level, when you're entering an order as a salesperson or a customer service person, you can see you will be adding these items for each warehouse, for each location. And then what you would typically do is you will go to this expected ship date field. Right next to it, there's a little icon that allows you to check item availability for that location. So it shows you the earliest available date for the quantity requested of that SKU. If I change my quantity requested, my earliest available will change. Earliest available date will change, and this is dependent on the supply, all the purchase orders that are in the system. These will be received. One of them will be received in September, another one in November. So that will affect how fast we can deliver the goods to the client. And this also comes up as a report. There's a separate screen that actually shows where you can type in an item and then see the same information, but in a more user-friendly screen interface. So I'm going to fast forward this a little bit again, and I will show you how to fulfill sales orders. So on a sales order level, if we have the inventory, we can click on the fulfill button. And if we scroll to the line level information, we can select our location from which we're fulfilling. Usually these are defaulting, you don't have to manually add them. And then we pick a serial number that we want to use. You can use express entry as well, as I mentioned before, but here we'll manually do it. So we also have inventory statuses capability as well in NetSuite, but I won't talk about that right now. So if I save this item fulfillment, and depending on the status, you see in the middle of the screen there's a status, this inventory now leaves our warehouse, right? And we can do the billing and invoicing.
You don't have to do this every time. This can be set up so it just defaults.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
But this does allow you some flexibility, maybe to ship from a different warehouse. Or...
That's right.
Gotcha.
All right, so that's all I have for this piece, for the inventory management piece. Judd, you want to talk about the next pain point?
Wait, before we move on to our next topic, are there any questions? Does anybody have any quick questions for us? Okay, I do have a question. Going back to reporting, which was one of the slides we talked about initially, is there, is there a mobile app?
For NetSuite?
Yes.
Yes, there is. There's a mobile app for NetSuite that's really easy to set up. It can be configured. You can suit or tailor the dashboard to the mobile app as well. You can see some KPIs on it. The mobile app doesn't give you all the features that NetSuite interface would, but it does give you a lot of features where you can actually submit orders, approve expense reports, and different things. So it helps managers do their business. It helps sales reps enter orders, enter quotes, etc.
Gotcha. How does NetSuite handle container management? Do we need a third-party application?
NetSuite absolutely handles container management. It's called inbound shipments in the system. And you don't need a third-party application. It works really well out of the box. It's a feature that you just turn on.
So it's configured. It's not customized.
It's configured. It's not customized. It works really, really well. It allows you to add multiple POs onto a single container or vice versa, split one PO between several containers. And then you can do receipts, transfer of ownerships, different things from the container record.
And because it's part of NetSuite, there's no integration.
That's right. And now what it does is now it supports serialized inventory as well.
Okay.
So it works really well with that, and there's reporting that you can create off of that container record.
Just for an FYI to everybody that's watching and listening, there is a chat window for those of you that are looking to submit a question. Please feel free to use a chat window, which is part of the webinar. It's down on the right-hand side in the little control panel. Let's keep moving. So your company has grown to include multiple entities. Multi-company transactions at that point are a must-have. If your business requires intercompany transaction and consolidation of financials, you're just at that point you can't do that in QuickBooks. Multi-company needs simply cannot be met with QuickBooks out of the box. Ilya, can you talk about how this is handled in NetSuite?
Absolutely, Judd. So in the next demo, I will show you some reports, and what you see on this slide are just a few of transformative results that manufacturers are running, and NetSuite has realized those things, and they have achieved a huge improvements in actionable insights and gross margins, and they also noticed a dramatic reduction in inventory costs and IT support costs. So the NetSuite system has the ability to manage unlimited subsidiaries. You will have consolidated reporting out of the box. There's no reason for you to take multiple Excel sheets and consolidate them into a single sheet. And also, the system supports multi-location, multi-currency, and what I didn't state here, multi-book as well, if that is a requirement.
Multi-country.
Oh, multi-country, of course, yeah. That goes without saying, absolutely. So I'm going to play the video here, and we'll talk about consolidation and some of the financial reports that you will love in NetSuite. So let me press play here.
And Ilya, this is real time, correct?
This is real time. Yeah, these records show as they're entered. So any transaction that is entered will actually show or be reflected in this report immediately. So what I'm showing you here is an income statement. It's a consolidated income statement, and also what I'm displaying are different companies that are showing as columns in this report. So on the left side we have our geo accounts, and then in a column view we have all the subsidiaries and the appropriate amounts for each account. We can change our views at the footer level. So for example, if you want to show other segments such as distribution channels, departments, in addition to subsidiaries, you can do that. So what I'll do is I'll press play so that the video can continue. So this is how you do that. This is how you change your segments. And then you would refresh the report.
Oh, that's really cool.
And then the view will change. And for example, here you can see all the different departments within that consolidated company structure. And you can filter by a subsidiary in the footer level too. So you don't have to show the consolidated. You can show the individual subsidiary or entity. Now, if you click on the detail, you will see all the transactions related to that income statement. So everything kind of real time feeds into your financial report. And you can get to it to a quick click through. So it's very easy, very simple. And there are a lot of settings you can adjust. You can export these reports. It's very easy to set them up and configure. Now these are the out of the box reports. This is the reporting section that I talked about earlier. We've customized some reports that were already there. I'm going to show you. I think right now I'm going to show you a profitability report. I was looking at the income statement. So let me see if. So right now I clicked on the inventory profitability report, and I can show you typical inventory profitability report that you cannot see in QuickBooks. This system provides you with details relative to your item profitability that you can filter by subsidiary.
And Ilya, this could be, you could dice this up. So if you have multiple companies in Europe, you could just look at your European segments. If you want to look at everything worldwide, you could do that. If you have different companies in different regions in the US, you could do that. This really gives you the ability to kind of slice and dice all of the reportings with multi-entity.
That's right. So regardless if you're a small company or a big company, NetSuite gives you that flexibility, allows you to go into different regions, use their local systems and put them into one single silo through this one world environment that I'm presenting. So regardless of the taxes, regardless of any local needs, everything can be consolidated in one report, and companies, small or large, don't have to spend hours on a monthly basis to consolidate this information, financial information. So what I'm showing you here is a typical aging report as well. So we'll press play here and show you the rest.
And all of these reports have that same feature where you could go through and slice and dice the AP, the AR.
That's well, a lot of these can be adjusted so you can expose filters that you need. Absolutely. And out of the box, you can get some segment information here. or you can just expose it by customizing this report. And it's so easy to do. So I've been playing around here, so I'm just going to fast forward a little bit. So this is, again, aging summary that we talked about. This is AP aging detail. So you can see all the transactions that make up that AP aging for each of our vendors.
And this has drill down capability?
Absolutely. Well, I'm just showing you here.
Wow, yeah,
as
it
you
is
can
with
see.
the journal entries.
That's right. So similarly to the AP aging report, you can also show various customer receivable reports. So the most important one, obviously, is AR aging report, and I'm going to show that in a second. So this is the AR aging report, and it's a summary report. And if you click into the amount, you will see the detailed transactions composing that amount. And you can search for customers by typing in the name of the customer in the footer section. All right, so I'm going to stop it here for the demo. Judd, do you mind talking about for limitation, or are there any questions in the?
There is a question. Hold on. I'm looking for that question to pop up. I apologize. Got somebody mining my questions here. Let's see here. Can I have different locations under subsidiaries? For example, I have a subsidiary in the US and in Ireland. In the US, I have locations in California, Washington, Oregon, New York, and Texas. Would I be able to get that broken down in NetSuite, or broken out, that breakout in NetSuite?
Yes, absolutely. Let me just reread this question. Can I have different locations under subsidiary? For example, I have a subsidiary in the US and then in Ireland, and in the US, I have a location in California, Washington, Oregon. Absolutely, absolutely. This is default functionality, and you can definitely do that in NetSuite. And you can do the breakdown by location, and that is what I showed you earlier. That footer.
Yeah, that
segmentation. Location is also a segment in NetSuite, so you can.
So even within this, if you want to just see reports on California and Texas,
transactions that happen in California, you will just pick that location, warehouse, for example.
And I can even pre-build a report showing me that.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You can save it as only for that location.
Or that group of locations.
That group of locations as well.
Perfect. So I hope that answers your question. One of the biggest issues with QuickBooks right now is the lack of industry-specific compliance. The biggest issue revolves around segregation of duties, which QuickBooks doesn't have. Lack of accounting entry validation can lead to potential compliance issues with tax filings and regulation reporting. If you need more internal auditing capabilities, you definitely need NetSuite. Hey, Ilya, can you show us how, if you could show us how NetSuite addresses industry-specific compliance, or I apologize, can you talk about it?
Absolutely. So here's some NetSuite facts. Out of the box, NetSuite is SOC 1, SOC 2, and PCI compliance. You will ask, what about HIPAA? Well, NetSuite can be configured to be HIPAA compliant. NetSuite's forms and fields can be adjusted to encrypt sensitive information. NetSuite security, based on other compliance certificates mentioned earlier, is above industry standards. Thus, it is simple to adjust, and it's simple to adjust any NetSuite environment to adhere to the strictest of HIPAA rules. Okay. I also need to mention that NetSuite enforces two-factor authentication on every account. Also, the IP provided the IP address verification, if it's used, NetSuite has the IP address verification and has antivirus scanning on all of its storage or data storage. Okay. So along with this, for point number 3 and 4, the role in permission management provides a high level of internal system security and enforces the segregation of duties. As an example, the warehouse clerk should not be able to adjust purchase orders unless the organization requires it. Similarly, the purchasing manager should not be able to receive products as that may not be their responsibility. Lastly, the system provides an audit log or trail that can easily be exported and shared with financial auditors or system administrators. All right, Judd, let's talk about the 5th limitation in QuickBooks.
Yeah, what we're kind of getting at here is that as your business grows, you need more than an accounting system. Unfortunately, QuickBooks was built just to be an accounting system. So every additional functionality either needs to be a customization or a third-party product that requires an integration. NetSuite was built to be a whole business solution. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Absolutely. So I want to talk about something called NetSuite Suite Success. What is Suite Success? Well, it is essentially a methodology or a collection over 20 years of ERP implementation experience that is tailored to a specific industry. Suite Success includes a pre-configured system with dashboards, KPI reports, roles, and add-ons, with a goal of providing a functional ERP system from day one. Suite Success also includes a set of leading business practices that any organization may choose to adopt when they implement their NetSuite ERP. These practices are not just randomly chosen, they're a byproduct of decades of consulting and business experience within multiple industries. The point of this methodology is that you're not building your system from scratch, you're leveraging leading practices, and this is where you're saving considerable time and money. You benefit by a shorter implementation timeline and a big reduction in cost. So these are the industries or flavors that we currently have in NetSuite.
Actually, this isn't all of them. This is.
It's not all of them. Yes, they're changing. They're changing constantly. That's right. So
let's see what a Suite Success looks like out of the box.
Let's do that. Let's absolutely do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch views. And I'm going to show you NetSuite.
There's nothing wrong with your screen. We're just kind of switching over to a live version of
the system. That's right.
So this is live. This is NetSuite.
That's right. So this is a Suite Success for wholesale distribution. And this is a role called Sales Manager. And as you can see, on the left side, you would have typical reminders, alerts that would be related to the sales rep or sales manager. In this case, we have leads, prospects, and customers without sales activity. So there's a little red bar next to it, meaning that this is a high number. So someone within the organization would have to click on this link and see what's going on. There are also opportunities to close, as you can see in the reminder as well. What's good is you have some tiles here that relate to either reports or transactions that you can create. So these are almost like shortcuts. Right below it, you can see key performance indicators for this typical role. You can also have different navigation based on a role. So here I'm showing the sales navigation, but you can also choose accounts receivable navigation. And for each role, you would have different links. So anything that's important to your role will be right here. So if you, for example, need to see the opportunities, you don't have to go through the navigation menu and look for those opportunities. They're right there, and you can click on that link and pop up, let's say, transactions or reports, right? So let me scroll down a little bit. There's something called a scorecard where you can see all the sales and operations. You can see all of your opportunities won, opportunities lost, and all of that is right there on a dashboard for you. And it's pre-configured, installed. You don't have to do anything really. It's set up. You
literally turn it on, open up the.
That's right. That's right. Now,
but with this dashboard, you can move reports that are.
Absolutely. You can, as this is set up, you can just move things around. Absolutely. You can scroll, you can drag things, you can, let me try to do that quickly here. You can move things left and right, as I showed before. All right. Now, this is the sales role. What you can do is you'll see at the top right, I have a lot of roles, so I don't want to show you all of the roles that I have, but as typically I'm an administrator of different accounts, but as you can see, there are different roles, and depending on the role, I will have a different view. So for example, warehouse operations person would have a completely different view.
So for example, your suite success vertical is warehouse distribution. There's going to be a role set up with dashboards tailored for that person's specific role.
That's right.
And
this is a warehouse operations person. So that person will see the inventory adjustments, the inventory transfers, what they need to receive into inventory, orders to fulfill on the right side. So anything that relates to their business.
Gotcha.
Or their duties or their business.
Yeah. No, the way they do business during the course of the day. So that makes sense.
That's right.
Oh, I like that the menu on the side with the orders to receive, orders to fill, orders to pack, orders to ship. I mean, that's basically what they're doing and what they're responsible for during the course of the day. So that's pretty simple, but it works.
All right, so that's all I really wanted to share you.
Wait, and all of these are real time, right?
Oh, these are all real time.
So if the sales person creates an order and it gets shipped off to shipping, I mean, he's going to turn around and see it and be able to pick, pack, and ship it in a couple of minutes if he's not. Yeah. Awesome.
That's right. This is a direct posting system. There's no batching. Everything happens in real time.
I think that's important to say that unlike a traditional system, there is no batching.
There's no batching, no delays. There's nothing that happens at night. Cost recalculations can happen immediately.
So I mean, theoretically, you could close the books in the middle of the day. All the information that you need is right then and there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't suggest it to the accountant. If the accountants heard that, they would be really mad, but yeah.
But you're not waiting for dailies to come in from another location, this, that, or the other. It's all real time.
No, you're really waiting for the person to complete their operation. You're not waiting for the system to do some sort of an operation in the back end. You're waiting for the person to complete their work.
Yep. So again, some of the verticals that we covered. Why should you use AlphaBold? We have extensive experience managing complex projects. We're recognized by NetSuite as one of the top partners in Southern California. We've been there before. We have managed big, complicated projects and have only happy customers to show that we can do the job right. We know manufacturing, wholesale, distribution, architecture, engineering, and the construction industries, and we have combined over 25 years experience selling and servicing, that is selling and implementing and consulting in the NetSuite world. We proudly refer to ourselves as bold enthusiasts. What a bold enthusiast is. Bold enthusiasts are dedicated to your success as a customer and are committed to help you grow your business. We are creating a bold community, which is a platform which not only includes our partnerships with NetSuite and Microsoft, but a place where you can collaborate with us, other customers like yourselves as well. So we do have a couple questions. If we can do that and kind of open it up.
Sure.
Does NetSuite handle vendor management and payments, specifically global payments?
So NetSuite does actually handle vendor payments and vendor management. They're called, they used to be called electronic payment bundles. There is some handling for global payments. A lot of it can be turned on and used. There are a couple of bundles that you can install and turn on and use. One
Out of the box.
out of the box. One is a paying bundle. The other one is not. The paying bundle does the clearing for you. There are also a lot of third-party applications that you can leverage to establish this, and it's kind of turn on. You can just turn it on and configure it, and it would work. That would manage global payments.
Let's talk about the new functionality that our team member Chris just has been working on recently.
That is actually the ability to download or upload from your financial institution the statements.
Yeah.
So that actually now NetSuite is able to directly log into your bank interface and pull the statements out in a daily manner through batching. So now you can actually do that in NetSuite as of the latest release.
The banking records.
And it requires no code, nothing. You're just going to a page, you type in your credential for the bank, and it pulls the statements for you automatically. Now, this is not exactly this.
No. I'm just saying, just kind of reminded me of that additional functionality. And Chris said that there's over 1,600 banks participating in that?
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah.
So we did answer this question, and then the follow-up to the different locations under subsidiaries, are you able to keep them separate? That is, are we able to keep a separate book for Ireland, for example, and keep it separate from the US reporting? That is, can you set up a report where maybe you do have a bunch of different subsidies, but you don't want to show?
No, so I think this is a multi-book question.
Okay.
And you can definitely have separate books for Ireland. If the Irish subsidiary is not following GAAP, you can set up a different type of book for the Irish subsidiary, and you can manage all of that in one NetSuite account.
Okay, but let's say you want to set up reporting. I can put together a report pretty easily that is just configure an out-of-the-box report where I pull Ireland out of that report.
Oh, absolutely. You can pull that book. You can show it in any. I mean, even the structure of a chart of accounts can be different. Even the names of the accounts can be different based on that book configuration.
Gotcha.
So it's really flexible and scalable from that standpoint.
Can the indicator field be customized?
Indicator field.
That is your question. Can you give us a little bit more information? And for the person that said, can I get a copy of this presentation? We will be sending out an email with a recording of this presentation after today's presentation. I said presentation a lot in that sentence.
Yeah.
So again, we're going to go back to this slide. If you do have any more questions, we are still taking questions. How well does NetSuite integrate with other providers? QuickBooks integrates with almost all applications. I just don't want to make sure that I lose that ability. I would imagine that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, NetSuite does. I mean, if you could put together an integration.
Well, so NetSuite is a bit of a more. Let me just read that last question. Can I integrate NetSuite to an internal application via API? Am I able to add any unique identifiers onto the invoice that are not viewable to the customer, but are a reference to our team internally? Is there any way the mic could? Okay. So absolutely, you can expose any fields that you don't want the customers to see, and that's very easy to do. And you can expose it in the API, you can expose it internally in the system, and then you can show or hide anything that you want on printed forms, on the forms that you email to your customers. The system is very, very customizable and scalable. So when I say customizable, I really mean configurable.
Yeah. So somebody wants to put a note on a a slip, like, hey, we need to get this out today by 3, or, that's very easily to do on a packing slip, but in turn, that packing slip, when it's actually printed, wouldn't have that internal note.
That's right.
Okay. And we're still waiting for the
indicator question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the indicator is. Yeah.
So again, one of the things that we're going to do today is we're going to provide you with a survey after the session. We want to learn a little bit more about the challenges that you're having with QuickBooks and within your industry in general. Really kind of the idea behind that is the more we can learn about the problems that you're having as to why you're on the webinar today and thinking about NetSuite, we can reach back out to you and say, hey, NetSuite's got a fix, or this is how NetSuite covers that, to kind of give you a little bit more information about why NetSuite would be a good fit or not. To everyone that's asked questions today, we will be sure to follow up with you individually to answer your questions directly. So we're going to do that. And then finally, thanks again for joining us today. We are offering a free NetSuite assessment. We use a methodology developed specifically to help you transition to NetSuite from QuickBooks. This consists of a roadmap and project plan that will serve as a blueprint to your project success. You are eligible only if you do not have a NetSuite subscription already. Again, I will reach out to you later today or tomorrow to see if you are interested in this offer and talk about setting up a demo to address some of your QuickBooks shortcomings. So, and finally, if you want to reach out to us directly, we would love to have you stop by. We're located at 1555 Faraday Avenue in Carlsbad, or which is the way that we get to end up talking to people is via the phone. We put up the phone number, and you can always send us an email at info@alphabold.com. So perfect. Thank you, everybody. And again, to everyone that's asked questions, we'll be sure to follow up with you individually to address your questions directly.
That's right. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. Have a great day.